Hi Capricorn, welcome to your reading. We're gonna have some real talk first. So I had just done about 20 minutes of a reading for you, okay? Now this is the fifth one I'm doing today. So I had a roll going, and right when I got to a certain point, I had just gotten to a shift of a story. The title of your reading is called Get Your Feet Dirty, Barefoot and Bubbly. And the story had evolved, and I finally figured out something. And the song that it was left on was Fucking with the Boss, FWTB, Fucking with the Boss, by Grandson. And all of a sudden my computer shut down. The video, it said it was non-compatible anymore. And again, this is the fifth one I'm doing, fifth one. So it's something was strange, and I tried to rewatch the video. It said it wasn't compatible. It does not exist here. So naturally I pulled cards to see what the hell was that. And the cards that I got were manipulation and fate. So call me crazy, I've been called worse things, but something needs to unfold naturally. And if I had said anything more than that, it would have been manipulating fate. So there is something that you need to discover on your own. And it's about, my guess is fucking with the boss. But I feel like you're the boss. So with that said, let's do it again. So I'm going to first figure out how many skips I have to do to get to where we need to be in your playlist for this reading. And I'm going to try to remember the things I said, but apparently I wasn't supposed to share some of them yet. And that's the kind of crazy thing. I believe, again, nothing is coincidence. And so I don't know everything. I only know what is allowed to be seen. And I believe that, your angels and spirit guides, or whatever you want to call them, are really good with discretion. So, 13. Rolling dice, gambling. Okay. So, Capricorn, the title of your reading is Get Your Feet Dirty, Barefoot and Bubbly. And the stones that I was drawn to for your reading were Apatite, which is a stone for self-expression, motivation, and balance, as well as Tiger's Eye, which is a stone of protection, prosperity, and balance, but it also represents both the sun and the earth, the masculine and the feminine energies, which is an important component when it comes to manifesting anything. You have to be in a balance of both energies in order for manifestation to take place. So the messages I have for you are: get your feet dirty, take your boots off, and relax a little. So I think of somebody who, I was a contractor for 5 years. So one of the things, you put your boots on in the morning when you start your mornings early, and you keep them on all day. And they're serious boots. They're usually, pretty thick, pretty heavy, laced pretty high up, tight, steel toe. They're work boots. And I feel like you've got your work boots on, and whether it's metaphorical or not, I feel like your hands are dirty, and it's time to take your shoes off, put your feet up, or take your shoes off and go get your feet dirty, like dancing in the grass. Barefoot and Bubbly. So I'm a hippie at heart, so for me to wear work boots, I immediately would take them home and put on my Birks. That's my balance. That's my spectrum. And Barefoot and Bubbly makes me happy. I'm bubblier when I get to run around and roam freely, and feel the grass on my feet, earthing. Look it up. It's actually a really important thing. So I feel like you need to take your boots off and let your feet get dirty, but a different kind of dirty than your hands are. So Capricorns, I feel like they're a cardinal earth sign, so they're really good at starting projects. They're really good at I always imagine a Capricorn building from the bottom, from the ground up, brick by brick. And brick and mortar, it has a lot of dust. There's a lot of, particles of dust and cement floating around all the time. So I really feel like there's somebody who's willing to work hard from the start. And sometimes they don't necessarily follow through as well, because they're cardinal signs, they start things. But they start solid projects. So maybe you're a little overwhelmed. Maybe you're spread a little thin. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't relax. And Taurus got a similar message. Taurus was, exhausted, overworked, and they needed a vacation too. So maybe you should watch the Taurus reading. It's called Into the Woods. But yeah, let's see what the cards say. The other song I got for you, I would love it if it came on, but there's a new song by Grandson called Dirty. And it's, do you have enough love in your heart to go and get your hands dirty? And so Capricorns really do identify as workers a lot. They're ambitious, but they're very logical, very pragmatic. Again, that brick by brick kind of, recognizing what needs to be done and then getting going on doing it. I keep hearing brick and mortar. Creators, divine creator, as above, so below. So when they see something in their mind, they can visualize the steps they need to take to get there. But maybe, kind of like how contractors overbook themselves, I don't know why I keep going back to this reference. Maybe it's significant. And research on the bottom, Page of Swords, learning. Gambling, rolling dice. So, creators. You guys are hardworking creators from the ground up. So what's powering the situation is your ability, as above, so below, to visualize what you want in your mind and then to take the logical, practical steps to move it forward. But some things are out of your control. Contractor. Sorry, my thought flew away if you couldn't tell. Sometimes contractors, they have a plan. The next song on is Puppet String by Umphrey's Mcgee. They get a plan, and they're like, yeah, this job's only going to take me 2 weeks. So then scheduling out, they have their calendar in front of them, scheduling out, after that I can, start another project, and, that should only take me 3 weeks. And then, this, if I want to do this, so maybe they do a roof and, a framing and a deck, whatever. There are so many other factors that are out of their control that could really mess up their schedule. And I feel nudged to warn you to factor in, logically, yes, you know what you can do. Logically, yes, this is how long it takes step by step. If I go by A, B, C, D, if I follow all these directions, this is how long it'll take, and then I can move on to the next one. Very regimented. But you need to factor in things like the weather. You need to factor in things like delayed deliveries. Materials being on hold or not having enough of them. You need to factor in the fact that you're human and you need to rest. Because nobody can run at 100% all the time. So your hands are dirty because you love to work, you love to make money, you love to build, you love to create, you love to see your hard work pay off. But you need to get barefoot and bubbly, because if you are going to just work yourself to the bone and be miserable all the time, you're just going to fall further and further behind. And then nobody's going to want to deal with you. So that's another thing that you got to factor in. Maybe you're not being kind to some of the people that you work with, or some of the people that you rely on to move a lot of these projects forward. It takes a team, it takes a village. So, my goodness, this is a work reading. This has to be a work reading because we have creator, divine, so things that are out of your control. Sometimes they're miracles, sometimes, it's like a tower card. It could be for good or bad. So what's powering the situation is this creator, this plan. What's changing this situation is somebody else's work. So my card is work, it's in reverse. excuse me, this is number 43. It's also the 8 of Pentacles, which is mastery. And then on the bottom, we have diligence, which is the Knight of Pentacles. So this is, I don't like, this camera doesn't like to focus. I think I move too much for it. So it might be a sign for you. Maybe you're moving too fast. Moving too fast for things. You're not doing things efficiently. Maybe you're trying to stick to your schedule. And because you're moving too fast, you're missing other things. Your steps are getting skipped or missed or reordered, or you're just not being as thorough as you should or normally are with the process and your people. So maybe you're a master at something. Excuse me, this 8 of Pentacles is the master. Somebody else is the master. And they don't work like you do. You can be spread thin. You can go diligence. You can go slow and steady for as long as it takes. Not everybody's like that. So maybe this, you like to have your hands dirty. That's who you are. You like to work hard. You'd like to see your work pay off, yes. But somebody else may be different. Somebody else may be more laid back, more relaxed. They prefer a happier environment, not such a regimented, critical, pragmatic environment. But you need them. They're a master at whatever they do. You need them. Take your boots off, relax a little. I'd usually begin this conversation differently. I think you need to just have a conversation about, your style, your expectations, and get a better feel of the people that you have working on your team or with you, and how they work, how they are, how they do. Maybe you see them as lazy, or maybe you see them as not as committed or loyal as you. But no, they're not supposed to be you. Everybody brings their own thing, and they're a master at what they do in their way. I don't know, invention. So what's blocking this is invention, your invention. You have a way of doing things. You have a system. And you're having a hard time getting people to adhere to your system, your expectations, maybe you're okay with working 14-hour days for 30 days straight. But that's not good for you either. It may be good to say, I did that. But you're going to burn out. And these puppet strings don't pull themselves. You're thinking thoughts from someone else. It's your ego. Your ego. You want people to see you as this really hard-working person, this really driven, diligent, can accomplish the impossible from the bottom up person. And it takes a team to do that, so you may be whipping your team into shape. This is Virgo energy, and so maybe your invention is like, maybe you're like, all right, I don't need this person anymore. This person doesn't work the way that I do. They're on the defensive. So you're like, all right, I got a way to do this. I'll figure it out. I'll do it. So what's going to come to light in this situation? What's going to come to light? This person who's made up their way to get this all done. Gluttony. Gluttony it's not just an excess of consumption. It's an excess of anything. And the song Loud and Heavy by Cody Jinks is playing right now. Wow. It's the difference between joy and pain. You may enjoy working hard. You're a glutton for punishment. Pistons pumping, minds are racing. And with intelligence on the bottom. Don't work till you break yourself. Take your boots off, put your feet up, wash your hands clean. Take a break. Barefoot and Bubbly always makes me think of that wine. Have a drink. Have a drink with your crew. Have a drink with your team. Have a drink with the people that you've been rough to. Be human. Find a way to enjoy. because this overindulgence in work, it's balance. You gotta find a balance. So what's going to come into balance? Somebody else is tired, lethargic. So lethargic is more than just tired. Lethargic is like absolute exhaustion. But it's in reverse, so it's somebody else's. Maybe if you keep trying to keep people, with patient on the bottom. Okay, so I chose this word specifically because patient has two meanings. Patient is, yes, part of patience, but if I wanted it to mean patience, I would have put patience. Patient is also a hospital patient. And the word patient means to bear suffering without complaint. Look it up. To bear suffering without complaint. So if you keep pushing your way of doing things on the people who aren't made like you to do it, they're going to become exhausted. And do you know what happens when people are tired? They get hurt. They get hurt. So I advise you to take your boots off and let your people take their boots off too. Don't work everyone to the bone. Loud thunder, heavy rain. And that image reminds, the image of the song, Loud Thunder, Heavy Rain, reminds me of the Tower card. And the Tower is the universe's way of saying, you've got to stop this. It's the tower is falling, the foundation is crumbling. And if your team crumbles, your project crumbles, your foundation for all of the projects you have lined up crumbles. So prevention, I was a health major in school, and the one thing I learned is prevention is key. You need to prevent this from happening. You need to recognize the excess that you're putting on yourself and others before someone gets hurt. You ain't never going to be the same. If your good people get hurt, you're going to have to find new ones. You're going to be even further behind than if you just take a weekend off. So, yeah. Progress, not perfection, just popped in my head. That's Virgo's reading. Maybe, Virgo's in your chart somewhere. Maybe you might find some messages there. But you're the creator. Don't create problems. Don't create patience. Take a load off. Back it up a little bit. So, Capricorn, I think that's all I got. Be kind. Be kind.